Thank you. And hello, everybody. Welcome. This is a crowd tonight. Great to see everyone. Thanks for being here. Welcome to our January 16th Board of Ed meeting. As a reminder, the public participation, persons wishing to address the board must sign up prior to the start of the public participation. Speakers must register on the form provided by the district at the entrance of the boardroom to maintain a first-come, first-served process. For purposes of following up with speakers, the speakers must provide their name, address, telephone number, and/or email address. To limit comments to matters which may be properly discussed during public participation, the speakers will provide the topics. Any group or organization wishing to address the board must identify a single spokesperson. Thank you for that consideration. Also, the reading of the emergency evacuation procedure. In case of an emergency, would everyone please follow the exit signs to the outside of the building. Please stay completely clear of the building to provide space for any emergency vehicles. Item 2, approval of the agenda. I need a motion to approve this evening's agenda, please. Motion?
Elizabeth?
Elizabeth, second?
Lisa?
Lisa? Any comments or questions on this evening's agenda? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 3, Superintendent's update. Dr. Terranova, if you please.
Thank you, Mr. DeLucia. I'll be brief because I know we have a wonderful presentation of our girls varsity golf sectional championship team in a minute, as well as our individual sectional champion destiny. So we're excited about that, so I'll be brief. I know that's what many of you are here for. But I do want to recognize 6 elementary students, Elizabeth, Cameron, Eliana, Jackson, Hope, and Kieran, for being special guests of mine on Tuesday evening's Facebook Live Town Hall. These are 3rd, 5th, and 6th graders recommended by both Mrs. Robb and Mr. Morrow for their elementary leadership skills. So I was lucky enough to get them on a town hall on Zoom, and they were definitely displaying their leadership on Tuesday night, talking about different subjects around elementary school and leadership in general. They displayed great public speaking skills, and can't wait to see them as they progress through the elementary ages. But a big thank you to those student leaders for being on the town hall. The other thing I want to mention is, and there were some letters somewhere in the back, but I'm very thankful to the Board of Education for their advocacy for our school district. They and I have met with multiple state legislators as well as the governor's office to really make sure people understand the need for appropriate state aid for this year's budget, for the coming budget for our school year. We then followed up those meetings with a letter to the governor signed by Mr. DeLucia, the board president, Mike Modleski, the VTA president, and myself. I just want to read an excerpt of that letter because it speaks to the advocacy we really are hoping for from the community to make sure we again get the appropriate state aid. And this is to the governor and the governor's office. We trust that you share in our belief that keeping funding flat in our current economic climate would essentially amount to a funding cut to all New York State schools. The current challenges require, at minimum, a cost of living increase in our state aid that keeps up with inflation. There's no better example of the negative impact of keeping foundation aid, which is a fancy name for state aid, flat than in the Victor School District. Our community is a growing community where we have seen an increase in student enrollment over the past 15 years, while other districts in our area have decreasing enrollment. This has resulted in a 700% increase in students with disabilities, a 300% increase in English language learners, and a 280% increase in students who are economically disadvantaged. In addition, because of our enrollment increases, we were disproportionately negatively impacted by the previous foundation aid formula, losing over $100 million over approximately 12 years. This historic lack of state funding resulted in the need for the Victor School District to override the tax cap twice since 2016, once in 2016 and once in 2020. They obviously resulted in our community taking a much bigger role in the revenue for our expenses as a school district, so we can't ask our community for more than that. They've done a tremendous job. The bottom line is this: keeping the foundation aid flat next year is just as harmful as a reduction in aid. Anything below inflationary increases forces us to make staffing and cuts. So we really need the state to be appropriate with the amount of aid they give to us for our student enrollment. And again, I can't thank the board enough for their leadership in this and their continued leadership. The governor will come out with her state aid numbers next week, and then they will negotiate with the legislators over the next 2 months for a final state budget, hopefully by April 1st. That also puts a challenge to us because the board needs to approve our budget in roughly the middle of April. So we are really keeping an eye on the state. So if you have any questions, please email me. But we're going to be sending out a community message tomorrow around possibilities for this advocacy. So we really appreciate that. And last, Monday is Martin Luther King Day. It honors the slain civil rights leader who dedicated his life to achieving equality for people of all colors. What is unique about MLK Day compared to other federal holidays is that it is the only holiday designated as a national day of service. MLK Day does not only honor the life and work of Dr. King, but it encourages all Americans to volunteer to improve their communities. On Monday, we celebrate the strides our country has made with racial equality and reflect on progress we still need to make in this area. So we're very thankful for Dr. King's service and his sacrifice, and we honor him on Monday. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Terranova. Okay, item 4 is the most important one this evening. The presentation's recognition, the Girls Varsity Golf Section 5 Individual and Team Championships. Dewey Weimer, take it away.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank the Board of Education and Dr. Terranova for allowing us the opportunity to extend this invitation to January. We had some conflicts. We weren't able to be here last month. My name is Dewey Weimer, and I serve to champion courage, respect, and resilience, empowering others. I am not a golf coach, although I may be dressed like one tonight. I am the Director of Health, Physical Education, and Athletics. So we're here to proudly have our coaching staff and our Section 5 girls conference and sectional champions here. I would also like to say we're a growing program, and Coach Sousa has always been someone who's welcomed student athletes with open arms, welcomed them into the culture of this program. We're one of only 4, I think it's 4 schools right now in Section 5 that have a junior varsity program, and Coach Redout here is here as well. So it allows more opportunity for these kiddos to be able to compete and represent the school in the sport that they love, which is golf. So I'm going to bring up Coach Sousa and Coach Redout and the Section 5 championship team. Come on up.
All right, thank you, Dewey. Definitely look good in that jacket. Thanks for repping that tonight. Before I honor the awesome group that's up here to my left, I do want to say, Maureen, congratulations on an outstanding career. We are going to miss you a lot. I've been here for 18 years. I haven't utilized Maureen a lot the last few years now that I have my footing under me, but definitely my first few years I leaned on her to help me navigate my first couple years to successfully get my career started. So, Maureen, congrats on a great career. Is this your last board meeting? Okay, I'm sure she's going to be here for all the other ones. So again, Dr. Terranova, thank you for having us, Board of Education. These nights are always special for our teams and our coaches, so we appreciate you opening the doors to recognizing the awesome ladies that are up here. Also want to thank Coach Redout, my esteemed colleague. He's been an assistant with the program, I think, now for 6 years, something like that. She knows, 5 years. Okay, 5 years. So the girls' golf program started in 2016. We started with 9 girls, and this year we had 23 girls on the team, and it was our first year with JV girls golf in Monroe County as well, and we were able to field the team there, so that was pretty special for Victor. So first I want to talk about Destiny. Destiny, step forward for a second so people can recognize who you are. Round of applause for Destiny. Destiny Jodwin is a junior here at Victor. She's been on the golf team since 7th grade, and she was the individual class champion for girls golf this year. She won the 2-day event, I think, by 6 total strokes. 8 total strokes, sorry. I'm just a little bit off on my numbers, I guess. 8 total strokes, and Destiny and I had a fun moment on the golf course when she found out what type of lead she had. We're going to save that conversation for another time, but she was a warrior. I don't think I've seen a golfer more dialed on that second day than she was. I don't think she really hit a shot or more than a shot really offline all day. It was really fun to watch her come down the stretch there. After the team stuff had completed on day one, Destiny was on her own to check off one of her goals that she's had for a few years. So, Destiny, we're incredibly proud of you. You're a great champion. Thanks for representing us, and good luck at the state tournament in the spring. Also like to recognize that Lila Hernicker, raise your hand, Lila, and Reagan French, right here, are also going to be representing Victor in the individual state championship come the spring. They finished in the top 9 to represent Victor, represent Victor and Section 5. And then our girls golf team, they don't have a state tournament, a team tournament for the boys. They have one for the girls, so our team is going to compete for a state title in the spring as well. And that is going to be local. We are going to be at Wildwood Country Club, Coach Redout's home course. He's going to give us all the lay of the land. And then the boys is right up the road at Mill Creek the same weekend. So we're going to be able to divide and conquer that weekend. So the girls here, Section 5 champions. This is the second sectional title that Victor has won in their 9-year, the 9 years that we've had a program. Very proud of these girls. Just to paint the picture real quick, we were at the Country Club of Rochester, which is one of the nicest courses in the area. The weather was about mid-40s. It rained on and off. It was a little bit windy. Everybody had hand warmers and multiple layers on. So every excuse in the book to kind of pack it in and not bring your best to the golf course. These girls did not do that and never once complained about the weather. And I was around a lot of girls that day, a lot of other teams. I definitely heard comments about the weather and how much it was not very fun playing golf that day. But I think one of the things that separates our girls from other teams is they really buy in and commit to controlling the controllables. And I think that was a huge factor in our success that day. So we were down 9 strokes to Spencerport at the turn. So to make up 9 strokes in 9 holes is a difficult task. By the time Destiny, who was in the last group, reached number 16T, Victor had a 10-shot lead. So between holes 9 and 16, these girls not only rallied, but they showed the stamina and perseverance to not only gain back to get even with them, but to surmount them by 10 total strokes. And then from there, as Reagan and Lila and Destiny were on those final holes, we were able to shore up the victory with a 5-stroke lead. So pretty impressive, pretty exciting. It's always nice hoisting that block over the head, and it's always nice getting escorted back to campus by those fire trucks. But outside of being Section 5 champions, these are some of the finest girls in the community. I'm so proud to be their coach, and I'm so thankful for the dedication that they show to this program, the dedication that they show to us, and the leadership that they show in the hallways in our schools. And if you look at, again, Dewey probably has this number. Their GPA was somewhere around 95 or 96 together as a team, so they're team scholar athletes. So they're crushing it in the classroom. They're crushing it on the golf course, and I'm super proud of all you ladies. So thank you for an awesome season. Looking forward to some more action in the spring, and thank you everyone for inviting us here tonight to be able to celebrate this awesome group of young women. Nice.
Okay, congratulations to you ladies. I heard they call it a stroke because if you do it wrong, you feel like you're having a stroke, right? I can't help myself.
Just turn it off.
Yeah, okay.
Letting them go. Good transition.
Public participation. You notice I am a constant source of embarrassment. I can't help that. Public participation. Although the board's work is open to the public, this is not a meeting with the public. At this time, privilege of the floor is offered to those who have signed up to speak, and I'd be happy to recognize those of you who wish to speak. When you approach the microphone, please identify yourself before presenting your thoughts. I have Mike Modleski, our VTA president. Thank you, Mike.
That's me, Mike Modleski, president of the Victor Teachers Association. One, thanks to the board and Dr. Turnova for all the advocacy around Foundation Aid. It's been really neat to be a part of that and to see that come together. But way more importantly, on behalf of the VTA, Maureen, thank you for everything that you've done for this district. One of the cool things about the district is the small town feel and watching each other's families grow up and really feeling like a family, and it's been really great working with you the last 20 years, so thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. There's a missing name on here, Maureen. Shouldn't Steve be speaking tonight? Okay, just asking. Okay, item 6. I have to stop myself, right? Item 6, acceptance of consent items. Items 6A through H. I need a motion, please, for these items.
Lisa?
Lisa, second?
So moved.
Who said that?
Christopher?
Christopher? Any comments or questions on any of these items?
Yeah, Mr. DeLucia, can I just recognize, this is a tough one, because on page 2 of the personnel agenda, we have multiple retirements coming up at the end of this school year, so I want to recognize Karen Vericchio, Dawn Zuber, Maggie Elliott, Holly Knox, Tanya Angelini, Paula Smith, Colleen O'Neill, and Janice Werner. All of them are amazing professionals, and they're all retiring at the end of the year, so that's a ton of experience we're losing. And just a big thank you, as I always say, to our retirees for the impact you've made on thousands of lives, and just want to recognize them.
Thank you. Anything else? Just point out, what is it, G? The acceptance of the extra classroom activity funds and single audit reports. We always do stellar at these audits, so thank you, everyone, for your good work. Okay, seeing or hearing nothing else, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. Thank you. Item 7A, campus news. Who will be first?
Good evening. My name is Rob DeRose, the principal of the Early Childhood School. In late December, our UPK classes welcomed parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, friends, neighbors to our school for their annual holiday concert. Our youngest students were so proud on stage, dressed in their most fancy outfits, and singing together to spread some holiday cheer to their loved ones. A note of gratitude certainly goes to the entire UPK team, especially our lead teacher who coordinates this yearly celebration and helps facilitate the practice sessions that take place for weeks and weeks prior to the big show, Mrs. Lynn Reeves. The Friday before winter break, our students gathered in the auditorium to participate in the first annual winter sing-along event. Our talented music teachers, Mrs. Foley and Miss Deasy, worked tirelessly to put together an interactive program that filled the room with the sounds of our little learners' enthusiastic singing voices. It was an excellent way to end the week, and it is a celebration that we're already looking forward to for next year. Teachers, staff, and students have gotten right back into the groove since returning from winter break. Students are currently completing their winter benchmark testing. Assessment data will allow teachers and intervention providers to ensure that all students are making adequate progress and receiving the level of service that they need in order to thrive here at the Early Childhood School. This data will be reviewed by an interdisciplinary team of teachers, administrators, related service providers, AIS teachers, during our winter data day meetings in late January. Finally, just want to say congratulations to Maureen. one of the first people to welcome me when I was beginning the interview process for the open principal position here at the ECS 3 years ago. You put me at ease with your smile and your joyful way and your positivity. That warmth really was important to me because that was something I was looking for if I were to leave my former district. So we'll miss you, and I just want to say congratulations and thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Heidi Robb, principal at the primary school. I, too, Maureen, just want to wish you the very best. Congratulations. You're a warm face from the day I started back, I don't know, just 5 years ago or so, I don't know, as a teacher. And then, again, as administrator, it's been wonderful working with you, and I wish you the best. This month, I want to update you on one of our building goals, which is working with our PLCs. Our professional learning communities set very targeted goals this year using data. One of the action items for many of the PLCs in our building was to look at exemplar constructed responses and the scoring rubric for the New York State assessments. At our after-school professional development this past Monday, Mrs. Byrne and I led our teachers to read a passage, answer some of the questions, and then analyze the rubric and their responses as well as some student sample responses. We wanted the teachers to see what it looks like when the students are meeting that standard. The conversations that the teachers had were wonderful. They were meaningful, and we anticipate this will lead to great discussions in the classroom with their students. Later this month, our school will get together again for another community meeting. This will be our third one this school year. This is where our entire school building comes together in our gymnasium. And believe it or not, we all still fit. It's the only place all of us fit. Our first two meetings, one of them had a focus on caring for ourselves, and then the next one was caring for our school. This month, our meeting will focus on caring for others. The teachers, a few teachers come together and we'll be doing a skit that's going to focus on allowing classmates to participate so that they don't feel left out at recess, which is one way we'll teach our kids that they can show care for others. Lastly, I'm looking forward to your visit tomorrow at the primary school for those of you that can make it. You will have the opportunity to see some of our senior high school students working with our VPS students for the Hour of Code. And the Hour of Code is a worldwide movement that aims to introduce students to computer science through a 1-hour coding activities. The program helps to demystify coding and show that anyone can learn the basics. It hopes to inspire future interest in computer science. You are not only going to be impressed with our youngest learners' ability to code, but also the care that our senior high students have for our youngest learners. It's really a very, very cool event, and I'm so excited that I happen to be the day you're coming to the primary school. So I will see you in the morning.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jim Morrow, and I'm the principal of the intermediate school. Over the past month, the atmosphere at the intermediate school has been alive with excitement as both students and staff prepared for the holiday break. We've been working hard toward one of our building goals at the same time of fostering a greater sense of belonging and connectedness amongst both students and staff. Our efforts to achieve this goal have really focused on strengthening classroom communities and nurturing positive, trusting relationships between students and staff. We recognize that conflicts are an inevitable part of school life, and when they occur, we are committed to helping students navigate the process of repairing relationships, whether with peers or adults. Our staff has been engaging in professional development focused on restorative practices, equipping them with tools to address conflicts in a constructive and empathetic way. This approach plays a vital role in maintaining an inclusive and respectful environment where all students feel supported and valued. This past week, we were excited to host our first whole building assembly in several years since going back before COVID. The event was a huge success and further exemplified our goal of community building. We were honored to welcome Master Kim from Master Kim's Taekwondo Institute, who spoke to students about the character trait of perseverance, which is an essential value within the practice of Taekwondo. It was an inspiring moment for our school to come together in one space, reinforcing the importance of resilience and determination in our daily lives. We continue to be inspired by the growth and enthusiasm of our students and staff. Our collective efforts to build a caring, supportive school environment are making a meaningful impact, and we are excited to continue this work in the coming months. As always, thank you for your continued support of our school and all you do for our students. And then Maureen, congratulations. You've been a tremendous support for me personally, and you will always hold a very special place in the hearts of all of us at VIS.
Good evening, everyone. Brian Geeth, principal at the junior high school. I'm going to try to see if I can do this from my phone. That seems to be the thing to do now. Read notes from the phone. I'm going to start, Maureen, by saying thank you, because if I don't do it now, I feel like I'll forget at the very end. So thank you very much. And for me personally, just your sense of humor every time I call is like such an uplifting thing, because most of the time I'm calling with either a complicated question or something that's maybe difficult to work through. And the fact that you're always sort of pleasant and like happy and laughing and joking, that's going to be very much missed by me for sure. So thank you for that. Tonight's update is really all about increased opportunities for our kids. We talked about some of our goals at the junior high school, one of which is increased opportunities for students. So I want to highlight a few specific things. We're getting ready to start our second semester, and with that comes some new opportunities for our students. In particular, our enrichment offerings are continuing to grow. So in addition to our fitness, nutrition, digital photography, and successful student habits that we've been running, we're going to be offering a unified art, which is going to be combining our 12-1-3 students with Gen Ed students to work together in an art class, similar to what you hear about with unified sports. Leah Sarnekis is going to kind of lead that charge for us. We're reintroducing our engineering exploration. That will always be a second semester opportunity. Kids have learned some foundational skills, so they're moving into that. And then also new is a financial literacy enrichment, which already has upwards of 20 students interested in it. And one of our new math teachers, Nicole Sedlock, is bringing that curriculum from her previous job to us. Great opportunity for our kids. And then with that, our internship program, which I've talked about before, we're getting ready to reboot. So we're in the process of sort of selecting and identifying and going through the hiring process for those student interns. And then also, our English department is working with an organization called the World Relief of Western New York to try to provide a refugee experience here on campus so they can go through some simulations, and that would kind of connect to the curriculum with displaced people and what it means to overcome challenges, and also connect to the book Refugee that they're currently reading. We're looking to try to organize that for perhaps sometime in April, which would be for our 8th grade students. And our social studies department, thanks to Kim Dole, who kind of put this on our radar, has finalized plans to head down to Sonnenberg Gardens in the spring to do a Civil War reenactment program for all of our 7th graders to have a chance to go and do that. So we're quite excited. And then the last thing in terms of an opportunity, our building council has established their goals for the year, and today we began the planning process for a career fair for our students, in which we're hoping to engage our community to come in and provide opportunities for our kids to interact with people in a wide range of fields. We identified about 8 different job categories that we would like to try to provide exposure to our kids for. We'll hear more about that as we get a little bit further into the spring. So, thank you very much, and once again, Maureen, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Brian Cieso, principal of Victor Senior High School. Maureen, I also echo congratulations. I got to know you as a mom when I had your straight A daughters in history class. And girls, I want to apologize that you had to go through that experience with me as your teacher. Okay. And I think you were at the junior high working at that time, I want to say. So I just wanted to say thank you for everything and for the grace, dignity, and humor that you've imparted upon me. So we're going to miss you, and Sarah and I love you very much. So thank you. Couple of updates and celebrations to share with you from the senior high school tonight. The first update is that we want to congratulate the 104 students who were inducted last week into the National Honor Society. Just so that everyone knows, this is not something where if you apply, you automatically get in. There are some pretty rigorous stipulations to get in. Many people associate the National Honor Society as an academic honor. Academics, though certainly an important aspect for consideration for admission, is one of 4 components to get into the NHS. Service, character, and leadership are equally as important when considering someone's acceptance into the National Honor Society. So you want to thank the 2 National Honor Society advisors, science teachers Christina Sykes and Tara Harradine, as well as the National Honor Society Selection Committee for their time and dedication. We had a wonderful ceremony. So once again, congratulations to the new inductees and their families. Very excited to announce that next month we have our 2nd annual Black Scholars Recognition Night. It will be on Thursday, February 6th at 7 p.m. Last year we had 18 inductees. This year we've got 29 Victor Senior High School students who are being recognized as Victor Senior High School's Black Scholars through the Urban League of Rochester. For over 4 decades, the Urban League of Rochester's Black Scholars Program has provided academic recognition, college readiness assistance, and scholarship incentives to students who achieve and maintain a B average or better throughout high school. There are also scholarship opportunities for students in their senior year who qualify as a Black Scholar. The Urban League of Rochester aims to increase the number of African American students from the greater Rochester area who graduate from high school with excellent grades and prepare the honorees for higher education and careers after graduating high school. So we are very excited to celebrate them on February 6th next month. And we invite everyone, including our Board of Education especially, to, if you're able to please attend. And last month was our annual holiday food drive. A very big thank you to Victor Senior High School Student Council for organizing this massive event, and to the other buildings and departments in the entire Victor Farmington community who so generously contributed to the food items. And this year, it was over 100, I think it was 103 families benefited from the food drive, so we thank you very much. And we did have one overnight trip. It was last weekend. Our Victor hockey team went to Messina last weekend for their annual trip there. They won Friday night 3-0 and then defeated Potsdam on Saturday afternoon 6-1. Their program this year they're 9-1. Mike Ferrari is doing a great job as our head coach as always. Mike said that it was a very successful weekend and a great opportunity to do some team building activities and help continue to strengthen the tight-knit bond that the team has. Nate McBride and Caleb Clark were selected as the 2 MVPs for the weekend. So we want to just say congratulations to our hockey team for getting off to a great start. That's what we have. Thank you.
Okay.
Can I say 2 seconds? Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you all for all you do, administrators, but I have to give a special shout out to junior high and Mr. Gee. Thank you so much for bringing back enrichment and increasing the enrichment opportunities. If you don't have a junior high student, sometime in their schedules, sometimes they have like 2 study halls a day, which drives me nuts. So I love that teachers are offering their free time to do some instruction that's not grade-based. It's more just, love of learning, kind of interest-based. And thank you so much. I know I have been bugging you for years, so thank you. Yes, thank you. Warms my heart. Thank you.
Okay. He wants to do this. looking for the box that Tim usually stands on. It's not here. I'm sorry, did I say that out loud?
Stop leaving the mic on.
Yep. Oh. Before we finish with campus news, we want to recognize Maureen's excellent support for the Board of Education, Superintendent, the VCS staff, and the VCS community. Tonight, as you heard, is Maureen's last official board meeting. In April 2007, Maureen started in the district office as the district clerk and superintendent secretary. At that time, Tim McElrin was the superintendent, and members of the board included President Bob Rose, First VP Steve Martin, Second VP Scott Sprague, and board members Ken Wiegert, Tim DeLucia, John Fowler, and Mark Hamilton. This was her first experience at herding cats. Over the years, she honed these skills to perfection. Maureen is also a graduate of VCS. I'm told that when she was ready to start high school, she thought her English teacher was very old. She was told that the teacher taught Shakespeare. When her teacher asked her to name 2 pronouns, she replied, "Who, me?" And the teacher said, "Correct." I'm told she was a great student. Maureen has been wonderful in her role supporting this community. We are so grateful for her work over the years. Thank you, Maureen. We know she's looking forward to spending time with her family and her grandchild. After taking care of us, her grandmother duties will be a breeze. And a note to her husband, Steve, your honey-do list is going to get longer. And be prepared for the follow-up. We are. On a personal note, as board member for many years, I've truly appreciated your expertise, attention to detail, and counsel. I wish you all the best. Kate, you got this. I now invite board members and Dr. Terranova to add any of your thoughts.
So I'm a crier, so I'll keep it quick. From the first time I saw you to just Monday when I walked into that office, it's your smile. It shows us warmth. It shows us kindness, encouragement, support, and guidance. And that describes exactly who you are. I will so miss that smile on a regular basis, but what I'm really grateful for is that you now get to give it to them more often. Your family has always been a constant support. We've seen that every day that we get to work with you, and I am just so grateful that you now get to spend more of your time with them instead of herding us around. Thank you, Maureen, for everything you've done.
When I first met you, it was actually over email because we were shut down. So it was the first year that I had petitioned to run for a seat. And even through your emails, I just thought, oh my goodness, she's just such a lovely, wonderful person. And then when we finally met in real life, face to face, you've been nothing but kind, gracious, warm, answers the phone at any hour of the day, even like 5 a.m. in Walmart when I'm ready to leave for a conference. And whatever we've thrown your way, you've just always handled quickly, professionally, with grace and kindness, and your wonderful sense of humor as well. Anytime I call you, you have that smile that I can just feel through the phone that I will tremendously miss. Thank you for all of your guidance and support, and we're just going to miss you so much. Congratulations.
Maureen, 2 years ago, first time I met you when I came and dropped off my board packet, you reminded me of one of my favorite people in the world, my mom. And so it's not just because you text me like she does and tell me to get my work done, but you have been absolutely the team mom to us, and just listen to everybody else. You have become the district mom. I know we're in good hands with Kate, but you are irreplaceable. Thank you for everything you've done for our district.
Hi, Maureen. I might be the newest board member, but we go way back in many of these meetings. You have always been a ray of sunshine walking into your office. It makes going to district office like a happy thing. But I do appreciate all you've done. And even though when I first was elected, I said, you can't retire until my term is over, and you were laughing in your head and not out loud. Retirement is one of those double-edged things. I am so utterly happy for you, and you get to enjoy some time to yourself and to do fun things that you love, but it's so hard for us, and we are going to miss you so much. And have fun.
Madam Superintendent, also matriarch, oracle, because Maureen knows and sees all. I first met your voice thanks to Mike Molesky, who had discussed with me potential interest in the board, and so I met you by a phone call. Everybody here tonight who has spoken thus far has talked about how you made them feel. All the memories go back to that. So I'm going to steal, I think it's Maya Angelou. People will not remember what you said. They will not remember what you did. They will always remember how you made them feel. And everybody who has spoken, and even the people who aren't here right now, that's what they will always remember about you. And surprise, you're not leaving. Because, I mean this very sincerely and deeply, you will never leave us, because we will always carry you with us in our hearts. Thank you for being you.
Maureen, like Adam, you remind me of my great-grandmother. No, I'm going to be quick. This is a board meeting, not a retirement party. I knew Maureen was important. I knew Maureen was important when I interviewed for this job, and she was in the interview room with the board. She was basically one of the people that interviewed me, and she had an integral part with that. And I thought that was pretty cool, and I also thought that was a huge amount of respect that Board of Education gave to you in your role. And despite your significant reservations, the board did hire me. And thankfully, we had COVID for 2 months, so you weren't there. And although you worked your tail off at home, so we didn't have to see each other for 2 months, and then I was able to get to know you, and you started to like me a little bit, I think. But honestly, she's unbelievable with people. I mean, there's a stream of people that go into our office from 7:30 a.m. till 4:30 p.m., and 98% of them are to see her, not me. She's amazing at this crazy job of working with a superintendent and an entire board of education. And she's amazingly professional, at least when others are around. That was a joke. She, and most importantly, she has a wicked sense of humor that makes every day go quickly. So I loved working with her. I love working with her in that aspect too. And two other quick things. One is, I don't think there's a human being in this district that cares about the staff and the students more than Maureen does. And that shows every day she comes to work. And the last thing I'll say is there's absolutely very few people who, when they leave a place, their name is synonymous with that place. And you're one of those rare people that your name will always be attached to Victor Central School District. And retiring is one part of the process, but you're really never leaving. And I'll see you in April when you sub, and I'm going to skip my vacation so we can spend time together. Thank you.
Okay, Maureen, can you come up here just for a minute so we can watch you cry on camera? You can give hugs or fist bumps, whatever, you know. What? You only have one contact? So here we have a gift for you from the board and Tim.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for Okay, so there we have the special edition of Campus News. Oh, you want to do a picture? Okay.
All right.
Tall guys in the back.
Right? So like Adam. Is Adam the only one?
Okay, and I feel sorry for this next one. I had to follow that. Management plan, work-based learning center, technical education update. Everyone, good luck.
My goodness, that's a hard act to follow. Maureen, bet red, sister. Enjoy every moment of your retirement and all of your travels and all of your time with your family. Well, tonight we want to provide you an update. It's been 1 year to celebrate our work-based learning program. So thank you for providing us this opportunity. A big thank you certainly to Sue Lutz, our work-based learning coordinator, Brian Siesto, our high school principal, Cindy Marinas, Carrie Goodell, and our counseling team for all of their collaborative work to bring work-based learning to life for our students. So tonight, we're going to share some insights about how work-based learning aligns to both the Victor strategic plan, our vision and mission work, our management plan, but also how it connects to some initiatives that are brewing at the state level and how work-based learning will position us well to be able to meet those new changes head on. We'll also share, and we'll hear from some students, so thank you very much to Nate, who will be with us through a video that he taped, Gianna and Colin, who will share their experiences directly. So we'll be able to hear and get a sense of what our students are doing, and then certainly we'll share some data with you and a path forward for where work-based learning will be heading. So just take a moment. We've got our new Victor vision statement on the slide. Take a moment, give it a read. It's almost like it was written because of work-based learning, right? Thinking about our educational community that is individualized for our students, that's inspiring to all of our students. It helps our students shape their future. And really, that's certainly one of our primary goals. When we look at the long version of our vision statement, that box that's highlighted really talks about helping to support hands-on, real-world experiences tailored to unique interests, strengths, and aspirations, individualized learning opportunities. Again, it's like it was written with work-based learning in mind. And certainly what you'll hear from our students and from Sue and Brian will underscore that tonight. And certainly even in our mission statement, and I know, Vinter, it's 3 slides already, but it's truly how work-based learning connects what's happening in the classroom to what's out in our community and out in the field for our students. It's so important for our kids to be prepared to think, I really like and can see myself in this future path, but it's just as important for students to say, I thought I would like that, but it's not a fit. And for us to be able to provide those experiences is fantastic. So tonight, You'll hear from a variety of folks with their different perspectives. I'm going to turn it over to Brian, who's going to share how this work not only meets our strategic plan and our mission and vision, but how it will fit into some of the New York State requirements for graduation.
Okay, thank you, Karen. So back in 2019, before COVID, the New York State Board of Regents created a blue ribbon commission to examine and rethink New York State graduation requirements. There were a variety of stakeholders who were part of that commission: educators, administrators, parents, students, researchers, school counselors, business professionals. And you don't gather a group of those stakeholders together to sit around and agree, you know what, things are going well and we're going to keep it the way it is. Usually something comes out of that. So that group got together, and I'm just kind of summarizing that they wanted to decide what should a diploma look like and signify to ensure excellence and equity for all New York State students, because before COVID, we were starting to get some markers that it really was not working for everybody. So how New York State unfolds the recommendations that came out of that Blue Ribbon Commission and implement them is going to happen over a staggered timeline over the next few years, and we are going to be making future presentations to the Board of Ed about this information as we process it and develop our plan at Victor. But tonight, we're going to emphasize how our current work-based learning program connects to these eventual changes for our students, and how we are already in line with these recommendations and in many ways ahead of the game thanks to our work-based learning program and these Blue Ribbon Commissions. So as you can see up there, the Blue Ribbon Commission identified 4 priority areas where they wanted to target change. They created a portrait of a graduate profile, and then 12 recommendations. We're just going to touch on a couple of those things tonight. So these are the 4 overarching priority areas that the Blue Ribbon Commission identified. The 3rd priority area, the understanding of meaningful life-ready credentials, connects directly to our work-based learning program, which is what you're going to hear tonight. The portrait of a graduate, you'll see up there in this diagram, this visual, that there are 7 components from this Blue Ribbon Commission that they would like to see in our future graduates once we implement this new timeline and these new recommendations from the state. All of these aspects of the portrait of a graduate connect directly in some way or another to the current offerings that our work-based program has for our students. And of the 12 recommendations that came out of the commission, there are many that already align with the CTE and work-based learning program that we have. These are just some of the 12 recommendations, but one of them is going to be a financial literacy component, real-world scenarios, and access to career and technical education for our students. So now I'm going to turn it over to Sue Utz, Colin, Gianna, and Nate, who are the true highlights of the presentation tonight.
All right, good evening. Here is a brief recap of work-based learning, and a few of the slides may look familiar. We shared these just over a year ago when we initially introduced work-based learning to you, so it's amazing how quickly a year goes. We're delighted to revisit the definition of work-based learning with you this evening and bring you an update on our progress so far. So we've gone from that initial introduction to full implementation over the course of the last year. What is work-based learning? Again, the idea to actively engage our students in areas of interest to give them those real-world experiences and really give them the opportunity to have such meaningful impact. Our focus from the start has really been on nurturing their interest, while also wanting to provide a starting point for those students that really may not have that clear direction yet. The program offers a range of experiences that we're going to talk about just briefly, but really trying to give our students, whether it's guest speakers or field trips or for those students that have a little bit more of an idea of the area of interest to allow them the opportunity to delve in deeper. We are also working to integrate the National Career Cluster Framework. It's recently been updated, and our goal is to provide opportunities in all 14 of those career clusters for our students, because we know at that point we will truly have a well-rounded career readiness program. So this just kind of talks through why work-based learning is so valuable. And as we reflect on the year, we really find that each one of these bullet points is equally significant. We know, and Brian mentioned it, the importance of taking what our students are learning in the classroom and being able to apply that out in the real world. We also know through our course curriculum the importance of those essential skills, and that comes through the course: conflict resolution, effective communication, professional dress, and more. All important skills that our students need as their post-secondary careers. Also, the feedback we've received from our business partners, those that have come along with us over the course of the last year, has been incredibly positive. And also, as Brian mentioned, you'll get to hear firsthand from a couple of our students who are in the trenches and are having these true experiences. And then my last slide before the kids step up, I think you have a handout. You have a handout? Yes, thank you. All right, you have a handout in front of you that outlines the 3 different types of experience. And again, we introduced these last year. It's a whole lot more fun now that it's up and running. The first one is work study, and this really gives us an opportunity to celebrate our students that are really working to balance both part-time jobs and coursework. And I think on that handout you'll see at the top, that just gives you a sense of students that are doing just that. They have their part-time jobs, but in addition, they have curriculum that needs to be followed on employability skills. So that's our work study piece. Take a look now as you move down that sheet at career exploration. Again, career exploration is students that have a little bit more of an idea of what they're interested in. These are often singular experiences, and you can look at that list, the variety, right? And we know we're just getting started, but everything from our ride-along, architecture, accounting, actuarial science, you know, the list goes on and on. Veterinary, I had a young lady this past week in HR. Every week it's something new. A student came in today interested in shadowing an electrician. So we're really starting to broaden our base and really wanting to cover all 14 of those career clusters. On the back, if you flip that over, you'll see the internships. Now, these are the students, and you'll hear from both Colin and Gianna that are participating in internships, both on campus and off. And these are students that really do have a sense of an area of interest, and they want the opportunity to learn more, to network, and to really get a better understanding of that field. So with that, I'd like to introduce Gianna.
Good evening. I'm Gianna Arnitz. I just would like to thank you for this opportunity to share about my experience with Dixon, Schwabel & Company. First, I found a love for marketing in Mrs. Utz's actually marketing class my freshman year. Advertising specifically is what I enjoyed the most, but DS & Co. were a guest speaker in my marketing class that year, and I kind of figured out what they were all about and that they were local in Victor. And I kind of looked into their website and I found a love for that company. Along with my interest in marketing, I also have a level of interest in engineering, and I focused a lot on my Project Lead the Way course throughout my sophomore year, and I still wanted to look into marketing. So I discussed it with my counselor, and she mentioned the work-based learning program, and I was interested, so I began with that. This semester in September, I started my internship with DS & Co. I would go 2 days a week for 2 hours after school, and I would shadow different positions and departments within the company, and I would sit in on internal and external meetings, the company that they had. My favorite was the external meetings because you get to see the relationship between the client and the company, and that's kind of interesting to see how they interact and how they work towards a project. I really enjoyed seeing that relationship, as well as the internal meetings. You get to see the different departments and how they both work together towards a new project. I was also assigned different assignments through programs such as HubSpot Academy and Google Skillshop, and I received certification in analytics, critical thinking, and business writing. Those were really helpful because they increased my vocabulary for the industry, and I began to understand what I was shadowing more, as you can understand what they're saying and talking about, because I didn't learn that in school, so it was very helpful. I also got the opportunity to do some research for the PR and social media team, and I also helped with some of their projects for social media and some of their advertisements, which was great to have my input to be placed into those. And my experience there was a completely inclusive and diverse environment. 68% of their workers are women, and it was great to see that they have such a more diverse company in business. And it was very impactful. I got to learn leadership, communication, and networking skills, along with discovering what a work environment may look like. I also got to build great relationships and connections within the company, and my mentor was great, and all my mentors for all the departments were great, and I'm still connected with them to this day. And I also discovered that advertising is still specifically what I enjoy, but I also found some interest in other areas that I didn't expect from other departments that I visited, such as data visualization, analytics, and research that were really fascinating. But I also realized there were some departments that I wouldn't enjoy, and that was very helpful, as I won't lead myself into the wrong path and know what I actually enjoy. I also gained further knowledge about industry and how the environment can affect that kind of job. AI came into play a lot in this job, and they are currently, DS&Co are experimenting with different AI websites, and they use it to scan different decks and projects, and it can make new graphs and tables, and also can generate new ideas and are used for research. And I got to experiment with that, which is something that I never would have been able to. And it was really interesting to see how the trends and different things in the world can change a job like that. And lastly, I gained further knowledge about the importance of work-life balance. DS&Co really focuses on working as a community and building relationships with one another, because they have a lot of people who are fully virtual, and it's hard to build a relationship with a coworker through a screen. So they host all agency meetings every 2 months, and I got lucky to sit in on one. And they just play games, and they catch up on what they're doing and show each other their progress on different projects. And that's really fascinating to see that you can still be a human in a work environment, and you're working and you're building relationships. And it was great to see them working as a community. It was a great experience, and I loved every part. I gained a lot of knowledge, and it's something that I would pursue. I'm very thankful for Ms. Utz for allowing me this opportunity, and thank you.
Does this work? Which one am I hitting? Is it?
Slight technical difficulty with the transition from Google Slides into the presentation tonight. We'll send out Nate's video to you all so that you can watch it. Lattimore Physical Therapy actually taped him being kind of a spokesperson for others to take interns and job shadow students, and so he described his experience with them and what he gained from it and why it's a valuable endeavor. So we'll send it off.
Yes, yeah, we'll share that with you. We thought it was neat. They just sent it. They put it out on their social media platform. So that's why, when we also wanted to have another student. So we'll skip right through Nate and Colin. It's all yours.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Colin Whiteman, and I'm a senior at Victor High School. And this past fall, I was able to do a financial internship at Bright Securities and a job shadow at Sage Ruddy and Constellation Brands. So I kind of got an idea for finance through my mom, actually, who is very financially minded, and along with my grandpa, who worked in financial advising for many years. Along with this, I took many business classes in Victor. One notable one was personal investing, which gave me the background knowledge that led me to want to learn more about my grandpa's job, which as a personal advisor, personal investing is very important. So I wanted to kind of get into this internship opportunity to do two main things. I wanted to see if finance was something I really wanted to pursue. I wanted to get into a professional environment to see what I enjoyed about the job and what I didn't. Along with that, I kind of wanted something to give me a head start going into college. I wanted something to get a leg up on everybody else and something to kind of kickstart my career. So as far as the actual experience, I'd admit I was very intimidated at first. I wasn't sure what I was getting myself into. I wasn't sure what I'd be doing, but through the first day, through the first week, I learned that everybody there was there to help you. They knew that I was a student, and they were willing to give me the skills and the knowledge to further my career. And I did this in a couple different ways. Of course, I had the physical tasks such as working on Excel sheets with different investment portfolios and understanding the world of finance. But I also had one-on-one discussions with multiple different professionals with varying different levels of success. This varied from first-year financial advisors, accountants, tax professionals. I met with people in compliance and even marketing. But the two meetings that stuck with me the most was that I met with the owners of Bright Securities and Sage Ruddy. And this was an experience that you're never going to get in a classroom. People might not even get this in something like a college internship. So this opportunity was very unique to me because it gave me the chance to put all these professional skills like communication, body language, how to ask the right questions that I learned in all of my past discussions and put them to someone that will likely be far more successful than I will ever be. At least I would hope to be successful as them. And this kind of brings me into the impact. The main thing for me was that all of these discussions and the skills I built, like I mentioned, like conversational skills, being able to prepare myself, built my confidence to succeed in a professional environment. And what I mean by that is in the future, when I have an interview or I get another internship or even when I get my first job, I know I have these skills under my belt, not just the financial knowledge, but these career skills to be able to communicate well and hold myself to that standard that these other people hold themselves to. Along with that, these massively successful people that I talk to them have very large holdings and portfolios that they work with. It kind of gave me this new mindset for success. It gave me a new strive and a new passion to work harder at my career so I could live a life that they've built for themselves. And I think that's very important because people have this idea that they want to go into this career, but they don't want to put in the work to do that. So by meeting with these people and understanding where they came from and how they got to where they are, it gave me a new respect for the work I have to put in to get to where they are. And finally, one of the most important things to me were the connections that I've made. I was face to face with many important people, and in today's world, networking and the people you know are so big for getting a job that it will open doors and give me more opportunities in the future. And I think that is like the main thing for work-based learning. It gives you the opportunity to gain the skills, gain the knowledge, and make the connections for whatever career you might choose. Even if there's a student who has an idea, they might want to go one way, and they choose that through this experience, they would rather go somewhere else. They have these skills and they have these knowledge to further their career in whatever way they might like. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
All right, so I'm the lucky one to be on the receiving end of our students out in the community and just really wowing a lot of our business partners. So it's pretty neat when they meet, face to face, and just the time that these community members are giving our students, and just I think it is an absolute win-win without question. So as we look ahead, when we talk about our next steps in this program, first of all, program growth. We know we need to cast a much wider net. We know there are so many students out there that we want to grow our work-study program, have more students participate in internships and job shadows. The range of professional settings. I mentioned the newly designed 14 career clusters that we want to cover all of those bases and make sure that we've got all our opportunities for our students across the board. The range of student profiles, again, why are we missing some students? We need to start asking those questions. What are those barriers? Is it transportation? Is it a full schedule? What are ways that we can have other students participate that aren't currently aware of the program and aren't a part of it? The career exploration development, again, just finding ways to continue to connect with the media center. We're calling it the Industry Insiders. We're doing a once a month and trying to work around the career clusters, bringing in speakers into the library to just, again, try to bring more students in. The branding of our program, just through the website, through social media. We know we have a lot of opportunity that people just they still don't realize that this program is available. So we still have work to do. We feel great about the progress we've made, but we know there's more opportunity out there. And then finally, I know most of you participated. Last May, we had our introductory event. We had about 80 to 90 people, government officials, business men and women, et cetera. We look to make that even bigger this coming May, and not only almost more of a thank you to our business partners, but also to bring more in, and everybody loved the opportunity to be sitting at a table and talking with our students, so to really build on making those connections within the community. So exciting as we look ahead. We're proud of where we have come, and with students, right, with Gianna, Colin, and Nate, even though you didn't get to hear from them, it's just wonderful, and we can't thank you all enough for all the support. And Maureen. And I think questions. We have a whole team here, so.
Go ahead.
A comment first. Colin and Gianna, I was blown away by your public speaking skills. And just to hear about your experience in your internships, it's clear that you gained so much from those experiences. And it was so exciting for me as a mother of upcoming students to the secondary schools to hear about this opportunity. One thing that I was curious about is there opportunity for students to confer with students who are currently in internships or have completed internships, to hear directly from their peers about the opportunities that they've had, the experiences, and I'm wondering if they could be some of the best advocates for the work-based learning program.
Yeah, that's a terrific idea. We have our website. I have a work-based learning website with a bunch, several quotes from our kids. We are out on social media, but that is a nice idea to even maybe take that. I think that's part of building on our brand and really trying to be out in the, for everyone to be aware of what our program has and the successes that our students are having. So it's starting to grow because kids like Gianna and Colin come back and say, oh my gosh, I'm doing this. So we're gaining traction, but I love that idea, and I think we can continue to build on that.
And just knowing that the senior high school is such a big place with so many students, even a work-based luncheon for students to drop in and maybe talk to some of the kids who are currently in an internship or have completed one, just to have that face-to-face connection, because I feel that
you guys are such ambassadors for this program, and I feel that you could really turn so many kids on, and I was so excited to just listen to you speak about your experiences. I'm just completely blown away. So well done to both of you, and I can't wait to hear more, Sue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other comments, questions?
Yeah, I just, from a year ago when you gave this first presentation to what we're seeing now, congratulations. You know, I know you want to continue to grow the program, but what you've already done deserves an applause. It's incredible. And again, just to reiterate what Elizabeth said, Gianna, Colin, thank you so much. To hear these experiences is why we want to bring more of these programs. We know that this is something kids have been looking for years, and so it's just exciting to see how much has been accomplished and how much more you're going to do.
Thank you. Thanks very much. And we have a great team. Carrie's not here tonight, but Carrie Goodell's been with us every step of the way as well. So thank you very much.
Thanks. I just want to say, I know, Sue, that you and Carrie have been working diligently and giving your whole heart and soul. So I appreciate that, and it shows this program has grown so much. It is amazing to see the list of connections you have. And I love that you're doing the library program and bringing in guest speakers, because I know my kids had full schedules and they didn't drive, so going off campus was a hardship. So that just having that little experience, even the field trip to a business or something can really spark an interest. Or how I love how you said it, it's also a way to rule out things, and I know that's really important at this stage because you don't know all the jobs that are out there, but if you get that experience in the job, you kind of can see, hey, yeah, no, I don't really want this for the rest of my life. So that's a wonderful opportunity for our kids. So thank you so much for putting your whole heart and soul into it. I do have to say to Dr. Terranova, I do not see campus construction or SWBR on this list, and it upsets me greatly. Because if they're working on campus, that might be an opportunity for our kids that don't drive or that have transportation issues. So I would love to see that changed. Because our on-campus stuff is more just education, working with teachers, but we're going to have businesses here too. So, but thank you.
Thank you.
I was going to say to the students, our company we're doing some hiring right now, so we've been doing some applications and interviews, and I would probably have hired the two of you on the spot, so great job. And just coming up and talking tonight, this is part of the process, and you guys knocked it out of the park. So,
Yeah, I would have to build on that comment. Sue, Brian, and Karen, you did a great job, but Gianna and Colin were the stars this evening, so great job. Thank you. Wonderful presentation, great program, love it. Thanks.
Carol, to your point for Dr. Terranova, the opportunity is there, because in upcoming it says architecture, so that could be potentially where SWBR could slide in on the backside there. Architecture is listed as upcoming.
Yeah.
So there's the opportunity with SWBR.
Yeah, I'm just thinking the on-campus opportunities are a big thing in my head, because I think transportation is a barrier for a lot of students. So, sorry. While we have them on campus, I would love to see them being used.
Yes, that's what I want to make sure that you saw there. That opportunity, it looks like it could be there. So, this was very impressive, all of you. This is extremely impressive. Gianna and Colin, you are what is most impressive. And I would say this, you guys, clearly you're student scholars, but leadership is action. And I would make sure you also recognize yourselves as student leaders, because that's exactly what you just did tonight and what you were doing with all your endeavors. So great job, great work.
Okay, thank you. Okay, 7C is the management plan, multi-tiered systems of support.
Good Good evening, everyone. This is a hard act to follow. We had Maureen's presentation and work-based learning. I hope I can wow you with this presentation. I am Karen Ryan. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Pupil Services, and tonight I'm joined by my colleagues, Heidi Robb, the principal of the primary school, Jim Morrow, the principal of the intermediate school, and Rob DeRose, the principal of the early childhood school. Tonight, we will be sharing a presentation on the multi-tiered system of support and the work that the district has been engaged in this school year. In August, Karen Finter and I had the opportunity to share with the Board of Education the themes that crossed our 24-25 Year 3 management plan. And our themes centered around student growth, instruction and achievement for all, and organizational areas. The development and implementation of a comprehensive MTSS framework directly impacts student achievement and social emotional growth. It aligns directly to our professional development that we've been focusing on the last 2 years of that student-centered, culture-responsive classroom environment where backward planning from the standards ensured learning experiences are rigorous and all students have access to that core instruction. This calls on us, leaders and teachers, to really use a data-driven decision-making process that identifies the barriers, helps us develop goals, and progress monitor our student growth. A definition that the state has been promoting around MTSS is that MTSS is a systematic, evidence-based, continuous school improvement, problem-solving decision-making practice that occurs across all educational systems. It ensures equitability, access to high-quality education for all students, and it organizes our schools in delivering a continuum of supports. There have been a variety of visuals that have represented the concept of a multi-tiered system of support. And it's really a framework. These visuals really try to capture the framework of how to deepen the understanding for the tiered level of supports that happen throughout the school day for our students. Tier 1 is whole class, data-driven, differentiated instruction. Here in Victor, that is our student-centered, culture-responsive classroom, where teachers are backward planning from the assessments that are aligned to the standards, where our students are engaged in learning experiences that have them think critically, where they're taking that cognitive load and they have opportunities to persevere. Tier 2 is when our students who are engaged in that student-centered classroom need a little bit more support. They need additional targeted instruction that can happen right within that classroom from their classroom teacher, pulling them aside, providing them some small group instruction, doing a quick check-in or check-out with them, asking them, what do you need today to make learning meaningful for yourself? But it also could be outside the classroom where kids are pulled out for an AIS support or attend a math lab. Tier 3 instruction is all of that. Kids are engaged in that student-centered, culture-responsive classroom with their Tier 2 supports, but those students need some more intensive, targeted instruction. And that typically are some of our students with disabilities, where there's special education services wrapped around them. They may have a behavioral intervention plan. The triangle is representative of the MTSS structure because it's showing that the core instruction should meet the bulk of all of our students at the bottom, and as you move up, less students need that intense support. And it's both for academic and social emotional learning. In order for a district to implement instruction that supports all students, it really has to have a framework and it has to be structured around teams. And so this visual really looks at how does a district organize themselves and their teams to be able to look at how students are responding at the core instructional level as well as the higher levels. A strength in our district is our problem-solving teams at Tier 3 and Tier 2. We have teams at every building that really can look at when a child is struggling, what are the interventions that they need. Our special ed program is designed to really support students in that areas, and our teams are very, very effective at it. A lot of our work this year has been focused in that Tier 1 area. When we focus around that Tier 1 and we analyze how our strengths are in that core instruction, we can look at where our needs are and then support all students. This data analysis of that Tier 1 began this summer with our district leadership team in our summer leadership and into the early fall, we were analyzing student data based on our district report card, and Karen Finter shared that report card with you also in the fall in terms of where our students fell on their Regents exams, on our benchmark data, so that we have a pulse on how are our students doing in responding to core instruction. That work didn't stop just at the leadership level. It transferred into our opening days at the superintendent conference days with our teachers. The Office of Instruction provided our teachers with a data protocol to use within their PLCs. This year, every PLC at the K-12 level, kindergarten through 12th grade, has analyzed either student achievement data or social emotional learning data that pertains to their grade level or their department. These PLCs have set measurable goals to support student growth. They've identified action steps, and they have identified ways that they're going to progress monitor. In February, the PLCs will be taking a pause at looking at what data they have to show that students are growing, and this is the heart of how we're going to monitor how our students are responding, and it really does directly impact instruction in the classroom. These teachers are collaboratively working together, finding out where the strengths are, where the needs are, and it's definitely impacting, their planning process. In addition to this work at that PLC level, each building is working to implement the MTSS structures and supports. And tonight, my colleagues are going to share with you some examples of how those MTS frameworks are working at their building level. And I'm going to ask Mr. DeRose to start at the ECS.
Thanks, Karen. One example of a system and structure that all of our schools have at Victor is the PLC, the Professional Learning Community. I'll highlight some of the work that our PLCs are doing at the ECS for you to understand the impact that our focus on a strong system of support for all students has had on all children here. The PLCs at the ECS were adjusted this year by Mrs. Reynolds and I. Mrs. Reynolds is our assistant principal. We adjusted our PLCs to increase the collaboration and opportunities between classroom teachers and AIS teachers to meet the needs of all students. We wanted to create a system to use assessment data to drive instructional decisions in the classroom, increase the continuity of strategies and supports that are taking place in an AIS setting as well as the classroom to increase progress for our students, and to provide regularly occurring opportunities for students to enter and exit AIS based on data. So PLCs at the ECS take place every Tuesday. They're facilitated by an administrator, and it brings together in our classrooms AIS teachers, classroom teachers, and oftentimes related service providers to talk about assessment data that teachers are seeing within their classrooms and engage in a productive professional conversation about what trends are they seeing at the Tier 1 level, and then through the professional dialogue, what strategies, interventions, and techniques can help children make progress with those specific assessment-based observations that teachers have had. Another component of our PLC meetings each Tuesday allow teachers to connect and collaborate with individual AIS teachers about students at that Tier 2 and Tier 3 level. This allows teachers and AIS teachers to connect and be on the same page as far as what's taking place inside the classroom that's effective as well as outside the classroom that's effective, and make sure that we're using the same common strategies and approaches so that our students are going to make accelerated progress and hopefully be able to exit those AIS Tier 2 or Tier 3 settings. We've seen a lot of positive progress and a lot of movement within the classrooms and with our student data since we started this adjusted PLC structure. One example of that within our Grade 1 PLC is within our PINK team. Our teachers are similar to the junior high. They have a teaming structure as far as their schedule goes. And our PINK team is made up of Grade 1 teachers, ELA, AIS teachers, for this particular example. Grade 1 teachers identified back in November that students, based on the Super Kids data, were not retaining memory words, which is another term for high-frequency words, sight words, flash words, whatever you want to call them. But students were not retaining them, and the performance on the assessments wasn't as high as the teachers had hoped to see. So we engaged in a really thoughtful conversation within the PLC about what strategies, what multisensory techniques are going to help children retain really important words that they're going to come across no matter what text they read at whatever grade level they're at. Classroom teachers were then tasked to implement those strategies within the Tier 1, the classroom setting. AIS teachers would continue to focus on those strategies with the students that are being pulled out and working in a small group or individual group with them. And then at the follow-up PLC, which was about 6 to 7 weeks later with this particular group, teachers reported out the data. And it was really impressive to hear the teachers report out that in some classes, all of the children's scores were in the green, which is at or above grade level standards. Some of the students in a couple classrooms are still in the orange, but no students were falling in the red zone of that data collection method. So I was really pleased to hear that, but the work didn't stop there. The classroom teachers then shared that they're noticing when the students are reading aloud with them that the fluency that they're listening to wasn't at what they expected to hear. Students were decoding accurately, but they were not yet reading with great fluency. So the conversation at that PLC, based on the teacher's observation and data, lended itself into a really productive, deep conversation about how can we increase students' accuracy, automaticity, prosody when they encounter text that's connected. And right now, the classroom teachers are really using those techniques and strategies that they learned from that professional dialogue in the classroom, and they'll share that data at the following PLCs, and that'll lead us to the next step. So it's been really powerful to have a really thoughtful goal focused on increasing the number of students or the percentage of students who are at, above, or well above the average for students at their grade level. That's their PLC goal, and I look forward to meeting with our teachers each Tuesday. Next, we're going to turn it over to the primary school, and they're going to share some of the ways that the MTSS structures have also helped children within the SEL realm.
At the primary school, one of the things that we noticed was that we had several students, probably too many, at that Tier 2 and Tier 3 level for some of their behaviors in social emotional learning. So up here you'll see, you don't have to read every little thing, but anything that is kind of that orangish color were all the things that we were doing to support students with behavior and that might have some social emotional needs. It was far more than 80% of our students, which really signified to us that we had a Tier 1 problem and we needed to be doing more in the classrooms to support our students' behavior and their social emotional well-being. So we took these social skills groups that were a pullout before, and now those lessons are being taught in all of our classrooms by our school counselors. And so that was just one way that we used essentially the MTSS process to determine how we had to really focus more on that Tier 1 level. So once we did that, then similar to an academic data day where we have to determine, okay, so how do we know what students need that Tier 2 and Tier 3 support now that many of them are getting so much more in Tier 1. So we brought a team together and we did an SEL data day. That was to help determine who is going to be getting counseling, who might be going to primary project, mentor programs, and things like that. So we compiled quite a bit of data. We used a panorama survey, our support calls, teacher input, behavior referral, parent input. We put all of that together to really determine the students that would most benefit from those other supports. So essentially, this is taking what we've been doing for academics for many years and bringing that same process to our social emotional learning, and it's been incredibly successful. We've seen a huge decrease in the number of support calls. When we look at some of this data from last year to this year, we're seeing a great improvement. So very exciting things happening at VPS. We do know that Tier 1 isn't going to support all students. So there are going to be times where we have to problem solve. And Jim from the intermediate school, he's going to talk about, so what do we do then when some of these Tier 1 or typical academic or social emotional data days, when those kinds of things aren't working, what might we do?
So as Heidi mentioned, what I wanted to highlight is some of the processes and systems that take place at the intermediate school that are also really similar at the other elementary schools as well. So as was mentioned previously, sometimes student need goes above that Tier 1 level, and there needs to be more of a focus on individual students rather than that greater 80% of students. So what happens is at the intermediate school, and like I said, it's pretty similar at the other elementary schools as well, teachers, when they start to recognize this, that a lot of the strategies that they're trying to implement to help support students at that tier 1 level aren't allowing that student to be as successful as they think they can be, they can fill out what's called a request for assistance form. And that form basically generates data from that teacher or whoever may fill out that form that will then be looked at by one of our problem-solving teams. And what we do at the intermediate school is we have a weekly administration and PPS team, which is all of our counselors and our psychs, that we get together and we take a look at all of those submissions of those RFA forms. And those RFA forms contain information such as like, what area is that student struggling with? Is it academic? Is it social emotional? Is it more behavioral? Could it be a mixture of the two? The teacher is able to provide us with some of the different interventions that they've already tried to implement, and some things that maybe have partially worked or things that really haven't worked thus far. And from there, what we do is we filter that to one of our other problem-solving teams. We have a small group problem-solving team, and the small group problem-solving team is a group of teachers or sometimes counselors or psychologists that work directly with that individual student. And then at that meeting, they will then problem solve around and have conversations where they decide, based on that information from that RFA and past history that we've tracked with that student, what would be the best logical next step to try to help that student be successful. And then another problem-solving team that we also may direct it to is a large group problem-solving team. And that large group team is a more comprehensive group of people where we have a standing team that meets regularly every Monday, and the meetings get set up there where it's teachers from multiple grade levels, there's special education teachers, there's counselors and psychologists as well as intervention teachers that may not work directly with that student, but can provide that more global perspective and maybe bring some new ideas to the table that that team of teachers that's directly working with the student may not have thought before. And really, the end result of all of these problem-solving teams is to develop a targeted intervention that is really going to align to the current students' needs and help them to be successful. I'm going to turn it back over to Karen.
So the examples that were shared by Heidi, Rob, and Jim extend to the 7-12 level as well. I mean, there's those problem-solving meetings that are occurring at that level, and those teams are working very similar to the structures that are at the elementary level. So that is the end of our presentation, but I'd be happy to take any questions or any comments that you may have about our MTSS framework.
I just have some comments because, I was back in, years and years ago in Curriculum Council when it was just kind of being introduced. We didn't have PLCs. We didn't have enough staff to, do any tier 1 kind of interventions because most of the buildings didn't have a counselor. So it's amazing to see how much you've done over these years. And I love the aspect of the tier 1, getting to everybody. That's one of my big focuses is that you want that whole cohort to have the same, have similar experiences. So I love when you're, getting the information out to all the classes so that they all have that same starting point. Years ago, when my kids were coming through elementary, we'd have one counselor and they'd be focused on those tier 3s. And they were doing a great job, but they just didn't have enough time, enough manpower to even think about tier 1. Because they had, they were dealing with tier 3. So it's amazing what you're doing. I appreciate it every day. And this is another thing that kind of goes to our foundation aid and our funding. It's, we really need to keep that staff because you can't accomplish this without people. And I love that the collaborative efforts because having more eyes on it and having more experiences and bringing, different ideas and different problem-solving skills, it's amazing, and you can see it, with your numbers. So thank you so much, and we'll keep fighting for that adequate funding so you can still have the staff to do it.
Thank you so much. Anybody else?
You had me at the memory word slide, Rob. It's my wheelhouse. I think what's really neat to see is each of our elementary schools taking that very similar approach, but just based on the age and the developmental needs of their students, but seeing the continuity of the MTSS is so crucial at the elementary stage. So I think it was a really great opportunity for the board and for folks listening and at home to really get a better understanding of what that looks like within our elementary schools. And I really appreciate, as a fellow educator, the balance of meeting the academic needs and then those social, emotional, and behavioral needs, because they really go hand in hand. And I think that is just a wonderful thing to communicate, not only to us, but I know that you do a lot of work telling the parents too, which I think is great for just that furthering their knowledge. So thank you.
Other comments? Another great and informative presentation. Thank you very much. Yeah. Great. Okay, 7D is budget development update. Woo-hoo.
As Mr. Stutzman comes up to the podium, I want to thank him for his amazing work. This is the second time he's pinch hit and helped us out in an incredibly important area, which is our finance and business. Came in the end of the summer in September, in the middle of the capital project vote. Really appreciate your expertise, your collaboration, and amazing knowledge around the budget. And Richard's really setting us up for success as we move this budget process forward. And our new Assistant Superintendent for Business, who we're very excited to have, Christine Griffin, starts in February. So appreciate your work, Dick, and I appreciate everything you're doing for our district. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Totally unnecessary. By the way, Christine and I will overlap for about a week. And I'll be available for up close and personal until March 6th. And then I'm gone. And Mo, thank you. Not only for this tour of duty, but for the first tour of duty. But good luck. Be healthy and be safe on your trip to Florida. I might see you down there, you never know. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about transportation security and operations and maintenance. They're small pieces of the budget, but they're very, very important. I got to make sure I do this right. So tonight, the goals of the budget would be the transportation, security, operations, and maintenance. I put in some other financial considerations. We'll talk next steps, and then we'll talk about the budget calendar to let you know exactly what's going on over the next few weeks. The goals for the 25-26 budget, which are the goals of the district, you see them there. They're the same every week. To enhance a comprehensive education for the district, improve alignment of resources, maintain stabilization of reserves, which you guys did a marvelous job since the last time I was here. To have that project pass by that many votes was huge. Maximize the use of every dollar spent, maximize the ability to generate aid for future years, and transparency. And you'll see some of that tonight. Transportation budget, the salaries, they're up a little bit. And what we've tried to do is a lot of that is overtime. It's not a secret that we are very short drivers. I was talking to a business official in another district, and the conversations that I was having the last couple of days about staff shortages in transportation, he was having the same conversations in his district on Monday and Tuesday. The equipment is down $288,000. I'll explain that in the next slide. The contractual is up $590,000, but there's an explanation for that too. Supplies, that's basically inflationary. Things are going up, and we have to take into consideration, and the last thing we want to do is to run short. BOCES, that's our summer school transportation, plus if we send children to the Monroe One BOCES for special ed, they get transported to various venues, and at one time, we used to put that as part of the BOCES tuition, but somehow somebody was down there about 14 years ago and pulled it out, and we now run it through transportation, so we get a better aid ratio on it. So the total transportation budget is $5,039,000. It's up $532,000, but you can see what the big number is. For the 24-25 budget, we had $365,000 allocated to equipment. And that's to cover the cost of a new bus camera system and new radios. For the 25-26 budget, we've taken $260,000 of that and reallocated it to the contractual line item to cover the maintenance costs of the cameras and radios. Once you buy them, then you got to maintain them, and there's annual contracts for that. With a balance of $215,000 going into the contract transportation line, because of our shortage of drivers, we now have a contract with an outside service provider, and that's where that number is. It's extremely, extremely expensive. The majority of those, all that transportation is for the McKinney-Vento kids. 25-26, $250,000 has been reallocated from the salary line item to that contractual line item, because if you don't have people to pay, but you got to pay somebody else, we just repurposed the money. And we also took some money out of benefits, which is ERS and Social Security. We are going to have another bus proposition. We have 60 large buses. They're on a 10-year replacement cycle. They cost about $213,000 a piece, and one small gasoline bus, which will cost us about $125,000. So the estimated cost was $1,527,304. But that'll be in the May ballot. And I'll be talking, actually Christine will be part of that conversation. We have the people from Fiscal Advisors coming on in February, and we're going to talk through that proposition. Security, which is a small part of the budget. As you can see, salaries are up. Equipment remains the same. Our contractual line item is down. Supplies remain the same. And it's a $627,000 budget. For 24-25, we had $45,000 allocated for an outside security company to help us after hours for our sporting events. For 25-26, we've moved this money to our own salary line item to pay for the overtime, because the security company we're using is no longer in business. So we just repurposed the money. And actually, in the long run, it's better for us because our security guys know our kids. And a lot of times you can prevent things from happening before they do happen. Operations and maintenance. Again, salaries are rather flat. Equipment remains the same. Contractual is up. Supplies, again, that's cost of living. And BOCES, you can see that's a $100,000 figure. And on the next slide, we'll explain where that is. By the way, the operations and maintenance budget is $5,586,539. For 24-25, we allocated dollars in personnel to cover all staff positions. Given that we have a contract with an outside provider to cover the positions that are vacant, which requires a budget transfer from salaries to contractual. So in trying to be proactive, for 25-26, we took $185,000. We have a middle of the day shift that is not staffed. So we took those dollars took it out of salaries and is being reallocated to the contractual line item to cover the cost of an outside service provider that comes in and helps us clean our buildings. We've been doing that for a couple of years. For 24-25, $100,000 was allocated for a capital outlay. These funds were transferred, or will be transferred, to BOCES line item so we can obtain BOCES aid to cover the first phase of replacing the door card readers, these things. And we can get 65 cents on the dollar back. And for 25-26, we just, why do a budget transfer? We just move the money from capital outlay, we're gonna put it in BOCES for the same reason. The cost of the project, believe it or not, is $198,000 over 2 years. But our card readers are, as they say in the tech world, end of life. So our next steps, once we begin receiving revenue information, the word on the street is the governor's coming out with her state aid on Tuesday. We're hoping that we can give you an idea next Thursday night, but it depends on when we get the numbers. And I feel very reluctant to show you numbers that I'm not too sure of myself. But when we come to that point, the recommendations will be reviewed by the board 2 times a month for the next 3 months, with a final adoption on April 10th. And I have met with all of our building leadership. We had some fun times to talk about non-personnel. And I found out some things. And what we're trying to do in this budget, and actually this is to help Christine, we're trying to make it very, very descriptive. So she knows on a line item what's in it, rather than having to guess. And then Dorothy will be meeting with the department and building leaders to talk personnel. I know those meetings are taking place. And we'll continue to calculate the costs. And there are some certain things that are asks, but will not be included in the budget, but we'll talk them through. And if they are included, we'll bring them to you. And that's reviewed by the district cabinet. Next Thursday night, we'll talk about the building budgets. On February 13th, the Office of Instruction and Pupil Services. February 27th, Christine will review the revenues and tax cap calculation. By the way, we have to submit the tax cap calculation the very next day. On March 12th, we'll do a personnel update. March 20th, we update you on any changes. April 10th, you review the final budget, hopefully adopt it. And then you have May 6th, May 13th, and the budget vote on May 20th. Questions?
Anyone? If you go back to the security budget, the first.
Hang on.
Yep. No problem. The first one though.
There.
Nope. That one. Right.
Oh, wait a minute, too far. Okay.
So my question is a coverage question. Since the company is defunct, we moved money over so we can cover overtime from our staff.
Yes.
Is there a delta in the staffing of the security?
We're fine.
Okay.
We're
so
fine.
We have not been.
I met with Steve.
Okay.
I met with Chris, and I met with Kelly, all 3 of the leaders here. And we talked this through. And when he shared that with me, I said, why don't we just take the money from contractual? Because he's paying overtime for his guys. No, we're well covered.
Okay. I love the idea of having more staffing on our side because you're right. To your point, they know our students.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
So does that mean, if we're covered, does that mean we're also contracting with a newer company?
No.
Or we're hiring more security?
No, right now we're not hiring any new security. The monies we have with the overtime is covering, we're well taken care of.
Okay. Thank you.
No, it doesn't make sense to go out, especially with the staff we have. We do not have to have another contractor, at least not for the next year. Next year, there may be another story. Any other questions?
I got one quick. The capital outlay, is that something we can use every single year? And if so, have we been using it? And what's the stipulations on how that monies can be spent? If you may not know, but.
Capital outlay is, you can use it for cash projects, okay? Part of the dilemma is, though, once you get to a certain dollar level, you have to submit the project to state ed, which takes anywhere from 6 to 12 months. When I saw that number, and Chris came to me with this need, I knew from my past experiences in other districts that we've used Monroe and BOCES to the RIC, their security coaster. And that's how we came up with that idea. But yeah, you can use it for cash projects.
Do you know if we've been doing it every year? And I ask
can't
'cause
answer that.
Yeah, that's something we might want to look into, because our company has like a revolving door with specific schools where they just plan it, they put it out there, and it's.
Yeah, are you asking if we've put that 100,000 in our budget every year?
Yeah, is it something that
I
we?
think,
continue?
I can find out the exact answer, but I think we started that 2 years ago because before then, we didn't have the money to do it. So it's either 2 years ago or last year.
I know we did, Tim. I know when I was here the last time,
We didn't.
did not have that.
Because we didn't have the money to do it.
Well, isn't it state money? Like, you're just, it's.
No, it's our,
No. That's local money.
Interesting.
It's local money. I think a year ago, they used it for cameras.
it's our money, but then we get aided back on it from the state at a high rate. Right, correct?
If you submit it as a building project. The simplest way to do it is if you can figure ways to use BOCES. And you get 65 cents on the dollar back. So those doors are going to cost us, what, $60,000. Any other questions?
Okay, again.
Gosh, you guys are easy.
Informative presentation, thank you.
Thank you.
We're easy because you're thorough, that's why.
Yeah.
That's all we needed to know.
Okay, we are at 7E, where we need to rescind the following trip. The students in grade 9 through 12 to Spain and Portugal, which was going to happen on 6/30 to 7/10 of this year. So a motion, please.
Lisa?
Lisa, second.
Elizabeth?
Elizabeth, any comments or questions on this? We understand why, right?
It's a bummer, but hopefully if we get more students next year, this will be another opportunity again.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. Thank you. Item F, 7F, is approve the following trips. Outdoor Activities Club to Lake Placid, 2/27 to 3/2. DECA to Rochester, New York, from 3/5 to 3/37/25. 3/7/25 to participate in New York State DECA State Career Conference. Victor Robotics to Cleveland, Ohio, 4/2 to 4/5 to compete in the FRC Buckeye Regional Competition. Senior student in Wind Ensemble to Hartford, Connecticut, 4/24 to 4/27. Participate in the NAFAM, is that what that is?
NAFB.
Eastern Division Honors Ensemble Band. And then a football team to Clinton, New York, from 7/20 to 7/24 to participate in the Gridiron Champions Football Camp. So I need a motion for these, please.
So moved.
Was that Christopher?
Yes, sir.
Second? Adam? Comments or questions on any of these great trips? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. Thank you. 7G, policy review, second reading of the following policy: Weapons in School and Guns Free School Act, Policy 8131. Is this the one that we talked about?
Yeah, this is the one that we sent out to the constituents. You had a first read last week, or last month. It's sent it out for feedback. We didn't receive any feedback, so it's a required policy. We'd like to get it on the website. So you could do a second and final read tonight if you want to take a motion.
Okay, are we okay with doing a final on this one?
Yes.
Yes. So
Okay,
moved.
then I need a motion, please.
Motion.
Christopher, second.
Lisa?
Lisa? Other comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. Thank you. Item 7H, policy review, first reading of the following policy, school volunteers and visitors to school. Policy 1901. Maureen gave us a little bit of background on that one.
So this policy is a new policy for Victor. You actually, in doing the Erie 1 policy manual review, the board actually did review a visitors to the school policy already. But administration would like to add a school volunteer and visitor policy. So what we did is we just took a piece of the visitors to school policy that was Erie 1 that talks about the system that we use, the Raptor system, to scan licenses, to check IDs when they come in the building, and we added that to the school volunteer and visitor policy. So this is a first read, including that Erie 1 policy. And again, it's another policy that's not a required policy, but administration would like to get it up, so it'll be a first read this month. We'll send it out to constituents see what the feedback is. If there isn't any, next month could also be another second and final.
Okay.
I just want to understand that correctly. So we're creating a second policy, or this will replace?
We're merging them, so it's
Right, but
gonna
that's what I'm saying.
replace
The other
it.
one then will be void.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, understood? All right, where are we? At number 8, meeting reports, Monroe County School Board Association Committee reports. Anyone?
I went to the information exchange yesterday, and I thought about it more when they were doing the
Work-based learning.
work-based learning. And the takeaways were, or points of emphasis, I should say, the salient points were districts strengthening the relationships with New York State Department of Labor. And they went into the idea that getting districts to stop talking about college as the end goal. And I think our district does a great job of this already. I mean, we've sat through multiple presentations and about this, but that the idea is it's not the traditional track of high school, college, but that the emphasis that the equal destination of military service, career, college, gap, trades, and it went through, and what I'll do is actually I'm going to give it to the district office to see if we can send it out digitally. They haven't sent it out yet to the people who attended. What they called it the Teacher Ambassador Program, but it did a deep dive, to use Dr. Terranova's terminology, on internships, outreach, paid internships, opportunities for students who literally would have a paid internship and be gainfully employed and certified in a specific field during nursing, I mean, all the different trades. It was very, very impressive. It was nice because it wasn't a sales pitch. And one of the things that was really neat that I wrote down is the Finger Lakes Youth Apprenticeship Program through Monroe and BOCES, their career center. They had a signing day for all of the students who had completed their internships and then were certified in whatever specific trade that was. It was awesome. And I mean, you could see they treated it just like somebody got a scholarship to go play a sport or play an instrument, you know, at a high level, wherever the school might be. And the other piece is right now there are 140 active apprenticeship sponsors just in the Finger Lakes region, and many of them are paid for 4 to 5 years. So I'm going to hand that over to get out to the board, and then that might turn into a workshop for us, or just some questions that we can ask and give to Dr. Terranova for as far as outreach and curriculum planning and such. So it was really, really good.
It's a great meeting.
It was, making sure I got.
Yeah, I also participated in that, and I saw a lot of similarities between one of the presentations we witnessed tonight. You know, so.
I would have waved to you. I didn't know you were on Zoom.
Say that?
I didn't know you were on that. I would have waved to you on Zoom.
Yeah.
One other statistic, which was interesting, is they talked about when they're talking to students about, you know, learning what it is they might want to do, which we heard from, you know, Gianna tonight. They point out to the students, you're going to work probably 11,000 to 12,000 days in your life. So you're going to want to find out and try things out and get a good sense, because you're going to work for 11,000 to 12,000 days for the rest of your life. And it was just a neat statistic.
Does that count for people my age, too?
It's a little depressing.
Double it? Is that what I should do? Okay. Anything else from Monroe County School Boards?
I'm registered to attend the district operations committee meeting this coming week, so I'll have more information in February.
Okay. Standing committee updates, anyone? Okay.
Not a committee update, but just you know, again, wanted to thank everybody here, and I know Brian was unable to attend tonight, but I really appreciate the advocacy that our group is doing alongside the district and VTA. I really think this broad coalition is really something to be proud of as a group. I think we're casting a very wide net and, you know, communicating with people and groups in the past that we may not have had on our radar. So I'm really looking forward to more news out of Albany soon. And just a friendly reminder, if you haven't registered yet, the legislative breakfast for Monroe County School Board Association is on Saturday, February 1st at Shadow Lake from 8 to 12. I plan on attending that. But I really feel that the work that we've done as a group, and Mike, the letter that you began to send out to both NYSET and the governor's office, thank you for that work too.
Okay. Item 9, upcoming events, the budget workshop on January 23rd. Next regular board meeting will be February 13th, budget workshop on February 27th. Okay, anything else for the good of the district? If not, motion to adjourn.
Lisa?
Second? Nobody wants to quit?
Maureen doesn't want us to. Carol.
Oh, trust me, she kind
Carol?
of wants us to.
If we don't end, she can't leave.
Carol, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, I don't think so. We have had a meeting. Thank you.
It might be the
everyone.
last time you hear that, Maureen. We've had a meeting.